All right. Hi, everybody. It is Thursday night. It is January the 9th. And as we've been talking about all week long, it's been a long week. We're watching the potential of wintry weather coming up for Friday all across the Tennessee Valley. Again, it's something that will probably begin as snow. And then for some, transition over to a bit of a wintry mix. So kind of a wide variety across our entire region. I do want to note here is I was looking at some of the comments after last night's show, and I kind of noticed that let's all stay positive with each other, okay? I noticed a few people being negative to others with questions. Please don't do that. This is a no negative zone, okay? And also it's a no weather hype zone either. You notice I don't start my video by saying, look at this, wow. No, I'm here to be helpful. That's my job. We've got 20 some odd more counties locally that we've got to help people navigate through tomorrow and show you the different scenarios and what to plan for. And that's my job. My job here is to help, not hype. The weather alone in itself makes people a bit nervous and anxious. And so many people have got plans throughout the day, and we're trying to help you navigate your way through that. And we're going to be here tomorrow doing the exact same thing, making sure you know what's happening. If there's any transition or changing with amounts, we'll be here to let you know that. Okay, so let's all be positive to each other. Let's go through the latest data, and let's just get through this as best we can. But seeing a few folks already joining on. Hello, Ronald. Hello, Steve. There's my cousin Jesse. Hey, Jesse. How's everything in Jackson County? Hey, Shasta. Hey, Beth. Hey, TC. Hey, Andrew. Andrew wanting 20 inches of snow. Yeah, I don't know about that, but for some, there'll be some snow for quite a while through the day tomorrow. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going to happen here, because we do have our Fox Chattanooga newscast about a half an hour, and I want to get you caught up on the latest with the model data as we've gone through the night tonight. So we do have, I'll pull up my cursor here, the winter storm warning out for the entire viewing area. Everybody's under this from 7 o'clock tomorrow morning till 7 o'clock Saturday. It won't last that long as far as precipitation. Most of that will fall during the day Friday and then quickly exit Friday night. It's just that temperatures will be back below freezing early Saturday morning, meaning that there's going to be some icy, slushy situations to deal with. So there's our storm system right now. It's not far away, but it's going into a lot of dry air. So a lot of what you see right there over near Huntsville, east of I-65, that is all kind of evaporating for regions of service. And the same thing's going to happen for us in the next several hours. I think it's going to be probably before 6 a.m., 4 to 6, 4 to 7 from west to east locally as some of that moves in. And initially it'll be real light, kind of just a few light flurries and then snow developing. But you can see the leading edge of that is predominantly snow as temperatures are plenty cold enough. But if you back out just a bit, see how that mixing is going on to the south? That's that little warm nose developing. And as that low goes across the Gulf Coast, it may push that warm air a little farther north. And that's the big key of the forecast we've emphasized all week long. The one thing that could change snow amounts would be how soon that mix occurs and where it occurs. Because the less time you have with the mixing, the more snow you could get. And I'll show you the different scenarios with the snowfall totals, which again could impact that. We may have to, find a time tomorrow where if mixing is delayed or doesn't occur, then we may have to up some totals there a little bit. So it's one of those things we call shift on the fly as you go through the day tomorrow. But that's what we're watching very, very carefully. Temperatures right now are already below freezing for most locally. Now, let me pull up the temperatures currently. We're all below freezing. It's very dry air mass. And something else to remember is that when this precipitation first starts falling, it will evaporate, which further cools the air. So we've not reached our low yet. We'll probably reach our lowest point once that precip starts down into the mid-20s. But area-wide, we got mid-20s already. A couple of spots may drop down to the upper teens. Also, surfaces are really cold. So anything that falls initially will accumulate pretty quickly. So even if there's a transition to freezing rain or sleet, that's going to cause an icing problem on exposed objects because those surfaces are very cold. I should say hats off to all the road crews out there today. They've done a great job. All that, you see the squiggly lines of the brine and the salt of the road, did a great job prepping those roads. We appreciate all their efforts getting that all ready for us. All right, so we're looking at mainly snow to start the morning hours. It'll begin rather lightly, and then as that column of air becomes moistens up, so to speak. Then more moderate to at times, even some heavier pockets of snow coming down during the morning. So we're looking at the start of the day through midday, predominantly being snow. And then around midday, lunchtime, the lunch hour, through the afternoon, that's when that mixing can start to occur. And it really sets up who gets the mixing, at what point, how soon, and how far north it goes. So for now, we know that mixing is going to vary the totals a bit because then you're accumulating sleet, and sleet doesn't accumulate to the same rate as snow does. But anyway, I think around the city, there's a potential for 2 to 4. You can be in the higher end of that, maybe more if the snow lasts longer. It's always a possibility. Or on the lower end of the scale if the snow transitions to that mix sooner. All right. And then northwest of the city, we're talking Bledsoe, Sequatchie, Grundy, areas north and west. And some of the higher elevations, you're into that higher range because there's a chance that your snow will last longer and avoid a mix of that freezing rain and sleet together. But either way, we're looking at icy, slushy travel, which is going to be very hazardous. So even though where you do get a mix, I know it may bring down snow totals, and that disappoints people. I get it. If you like snow, I understand. I like snow too. But you got to keep in mind, freezing rain and sleet makes it just worse for travel. So icy, slushy travel throughout the day. Temperatures may peak just a little bit in the valley above freezing, but again, on untreated roadways, it's going to be pretty slick. And again, as I mentioned, with some exposed objects that have been pretty cold, ice formation, some power outages can't be ruled out. Can't be ruled out. So there's exit of the winter storm warning, and there's a system that we're watching rather quickly. And again, going back out, there's that low. That's the low we've been tracking as it moved over the southwestern part of the U.S. There it is, moving across the Gulf Coast. Again, if it took a far northerly track, it pushes that warm air a little farther north. If it takes a little bit southern track, then we avoid that mix a little bit. That's the key, and that's what we're just going to watch over the next 12 hours to really see what transpires with that. And that'll go a long way in helping determine those final totals there. But we'll go over those scenarios coming up in just a second. This is our future track model. This is our graph model. It's exclusive, provided to us by WSI, the weather company. This is our weather provider. And you can see, let's back that time up just a little bit. So you can see around, say, 4:30, you might start seeing some flurries flying around early and some light snow showers, and then more widespread snow moving in closer to the city, say 5, 6 a.m. So if you're traveling early, be aware of that. But that's predominantly snow and temperatures below freezing. As I mentioned, temperatures will drop a little bit more with that evaporative cooling. All right. And then we go from, say, 6 a.m. to 9, 10. I'll stop right there at 10:15. You can see quite a bit of snow out there. Little mixing starting to show up near Fort Payne where that temperature is kind of trying to move up a bit. Notice Calhoun also at 33. So a little bit of surface temperature coming up, and notice also a bit of a southerly wind coming in. So that could be a factor trying to push temperatures up. But either way, those first few hours are predominantly looking like snow, and again, could have the main chance for accumulation area wide. Now, as we start going past, say, 10 a.m. to about lunchtime, around lunchtime, notice again, look at the surface temperatures, 32, 33 south of the city. Everybody north is still way below that. But you can see a little bit of mixing going on, that purple indicating some freezing rain, some sleet. It would be freezing rain where temperatures are at or below freezing, and sleet where it's above freezing. And a little bit of rain over Floyd County near Rome. Now let's go into the afternoon. This takes us from noon to about, say, 2 o'clock. And there you can see a couple of interesting things happening. Look south of the city. You notice temperatures are above freezing in Chattanooga, still well below freezing north. But south of the city are 33, 34. So now you have more sleet coming down, more rain starting to mix in farther down to the south, or at least potentially, if this model verifies it's correct. But it indeed shows that mixing going on. And then we get toward later into the afternoon. It's much lighter as far as the precipitation, but it's much more of a mixture in the city. But again, note, north and west of the city, it stays predominantly snow throughout that time. And that's the reason why those areas like Pikeville, Crossville, Dunlap, Monteagle, Tracy City would stay snow longer where the higher totals could be. When they're farther south, more sleet mixing in, and mainly more pure cold rain with 34, 35 degrees. So beyond, say, sunset, as temperatures fall back, we start getting back into some more lighter snow showers throughout the evening. And then overnight, Friday night, kind of going back below freezing. Most of that wraps up before midnight. Maybe a few flurries even early Saturday morning, not causing any problems. But with temperatures back below freezing, you can see there could be some refreezing on roadways. So again, that's something to be aware of. Now, if that model were to verify, these are the snow totals based on that. It's kind of in a 2 to 4 inch range. I think it's a little on the high end there. Not impossible, but I think it's a little bit on the high end. But I think, as I've said in Chattanooga, I think a 2 to 4 is possible with more going on north and west. Here's the GFS model. It's been more bullish on staying snow longer. And so if you look at this, it brings in a little bit quicker, 4 a.m. And around, say, early to mid-morning, say 9 a.m., it's all snow locally. But then note around lunchtime or just after, about the same thing. We start seeing a little bit of mixture coming in. Calhoun, Fort Payne, and Rome. And then notice to the afternoon, that mixing gets a little bit closer to the city. So from Cleveland, Chattanooga south, it's more mixing going on. So any snow would kind of stop. It's mainly then freezing rain and sleet where temperatures are below freezing with freezing rain. But again, shows you where north and west of the city, Athens, Pikeville, Dunlap, it's remaining snow throughout that time. And then going back to snow showers as temperatures chill again, and that little mixture lasts through early Saturday before ending. So again, it turns that, where it does transition and temperatures get above freezing, you go from sort of a snowy landscape to that more of a slushy one, and then refreezing where it gets icy again. So that's why I mentioned that icy, slushy, one big giant Slurpee situation through tomorrow. GFS model's been on the high end of things. This is from the 18Z or afternoon model run. It again shows these high end amounts. And I'll show you this because it's the high end. All right. I believe this is the European. European's a little lower, but it still puts us more in the 2 to 3, 2 to 4. That one is falling more in line with a high res model. So this one's kind of more in line with our thinking, kind of going right down the middle of the road there, because some of those, I think north and west will be a little bit higher, but around the city, our best chance of accumulation is going to be that first half of the day before we start seeing a transition, which would bring those totals down just a bit. And then the NAM model, which has been pretty consistent on keeping lower totals. This again keeps us in a kind of around a 2 inch mark in the city, 2 to 4, Chattanooga to Cleveland, and a lot less south of the city, but again, that 4 to 6 north and west. So that one's been more bullish on having far less, with more of that mixing happening sooner. So again, that mixing line, how soon it develops, how far it moves northward, is the big key to tomorrow's forecast. Let's look at the latest high-res model. This is a short-term high-res. This updates every hour. So that's showing the early arrival. And again, a lot of that at 2:30 to 4 is going to evaporate to begin with. But I would say after 4 a.m., as we start getting more of that light, light snow showers and the snow beginning. And then let's go in time towards 7, 8. You notice again, 8, 9 a.m. through mid-morning, it's mainly snow, a mixture, a few pockets where sleet can mix in. And really keeps it snow to about midday. So these models are pretty consistent on that, even with the GFS. So around midday is when you start seeing more of that mixing happening with some sleet and freezing rain. Again, sleet accumulates, just not to the same degree as what snow does. So it can kind of slow that down. So when we talk about accumulation, you're talking about snow and sleet mixed in, even a little bit of coating of ice with that, when freezing rain occurs. Then through the afternoon, notice more of that rain mixing in. So that takes us to about 1 o'clock. Let me expand that out just a little bit more. That takes us to about mid-afternoon. So as that happens from the city and south, it's more of a slushy, wet situation where temperatures reach the low and mid-30s. That's the reason why area-wide, the amounts are not going to be equal. Not going to be equal at all. So that's the latest high-res model. And the latest high-res model also had us, I'll show you this. Let me bring this to the screen. It had us, well, let me go back to that. It had us at about 2 inches. That's our latest high-res model view, had us at least in the city around 2. And kind of a 1 to 2 south, and still that area north and west up in here, you're still in that 4 to 6 categories. That's the area that I think is going to be in that little sweet spot of heavier bands of snow. So again, that's what we'll be watching tomorrow. And again, could we adjust these totals? Yeah. And again, it all goes back to if that transition line happens a little bit sooner. Let's pull our slideshow back up here. So this is the planner basically for Chattanooga. And again, I had someone ask me, I have the word snow shower there. Don't try to overthink it. It's not off and on. It's off and on to begin with. It's predominantly snow is what it means. So it's just pure snow, but mainly snow to start with through midday, a little bit of mixing close to midday, and then into the afternoon, more mixing going on, less mixing north and west. And that's the reason why totals are a little bit different off to the north and west. Some people have asked me, what model do you trust the most? The high res models, when you're this close to an event, tend to be more in line. And that's why I liked when I saw the total there around 2 to 3, 2 to 4, around the immediate, kind of immediate metro area was a pretty good idea. I think around 2 in the city, a little bit less south and more to the north and west. I think that was a pretty good model. I've seen this, what we call blowtorch of a low level jet move in and bring temperatures up pretty quickly. And at times though, we've had the cold air override that. So 1 to 2 degrees can make all the difference in the world on this situation. So, but right now the high res models is sort of my guide point and guidepost at this time. As the other global and short range models come in, that one's more of what we've been kind of seeing. I'll pull this up one more time. That high res. And you can see, this around, say 7 a.m. roughly. It brings it a little bit later. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, noon. So it keeps predominantly snow over a large part of our viewing area through noon. And here comes that mixing going on around lunchtime and just afterward. So that's at that point we get that little surge of southerly wind coming in. And even in areas north and west, more sleet mixing with the snow. It's more rain and snow mixed through late afternoon, but then in the early evening transitions back to some light snow and light sleet as temperatures chill back down. And again, its totals. There's a sleet total, so we can pick up a ½ inch of sleet along the snow, but a lot of areas getting some periods of sleet potentially. The best chance for freezing rain is not too heavy locally. I'd keep an eye on areas farther south, but maybe a light glaze locally as long as it remains rain for a shorter period of time while we're below freezing. And there's that snow total. We're getting around the city around 2 inches, kind of a 1 to 2, 1 to 3 to the south, and then areas north and west in the purple there in that 4 to 6 zone. So that's, what the high res model is showing at the moment. And it has, I think you got a pretty good read on it, at least for the moment. Let me show you one more thing. These are the precipitation types, and I'll blow this up so you can see this a little bit better. There we go. So we talk about precipitation types. As you view tomorrow and watch snow or where you are, there's sleet or rain, this will give you an idea of what's happening both at the surface and up above, all right? And these are the precipitation types that we get in the wintertime. We talk about a wintry mix. This is what we're talking about. All right. So let's start with snow. Since predominantly it will more than likely be snow to start with, that's because temperatures up above us are quite cold, and it's cold all the way to the surface. You can have snow falling when it's above freezing, but as long as that can hold together, remain a snowflake, if it's really chilled up above. So predominantly snow, but as temperatures start to warm aloft, all right, that's where you could start seeing sleet. Now, sleet and freezing rain are two entirely different things, not the same thing. So you have warm air, so you could have a snowflake fall, it warms, and then refreezes back to a little bitty speck of ice. If you hear that hissing sound when sleet hits the ground, that's sleet. They're bouncing around, little pellets of ice. Then freezing rain is where you've had snow to begin with, it melts, it then reaches the surface. All the way down to the surface is rain, but with temperatures below freezing, it freezes on contact. So think of this. Think of a donut with sprinkles on it. That's sleet. All right. Take a glazed Krispy Kreme donut, a glaze, that's freezing rain. All right. So freezing rain is rain that reaches the surface as liquid and freezes on contact. That's what causes a lot of power outages. Then, of course, flat out rain is where the column of air is warm from the top down to the bottom. When you're at 33 degrees, it can just be a cold rain, as cold as it can be and still be liquid. Okay. So as you watch any transition go on during the day tomorrow, understand what's happening up above and to the surface. I'll kind of give you an idea of how much warming is going on, where that change starts to take place. So just thought I'd throw that out there for you. All right, folks. Anyway, I got to get ready for our Fox Chattanooga newscast at 10 o'clock. I'll go over some of the latest data and talk more about this, but this is not our final broadcast. We'll have more going on throughout the day tomorrow. Our whole team will be here watching, and we'll keep an eye on our viewing area, which stretches 100 miles north to south. A lot of change in elevation, so everybody's going to get different levels of this system, but it's always like that when we deal with winter systems around here. But we'll track it all for you and keep you updated. But please be careful tomorrow if you have any travel plans at all. It's kind of one of those days you just want to stay inside and not travel, because it can both be snowy, icy, and slushy. And slushiness can make you skid on roads even worse than ice. Okay, so we'll track it for you throughout the day. But thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your comments there. And we'll keep you posted throughout the day. I'll have a full update at 10 and again at 11. Stay warm, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you again tonight at 10 to 11. And, of course, on social media tomorrow.